Hey.
Hello, welcome back. Today we're here to talk about 2005's Batman Begins. As always, we're going to start off with the plot and storyline, and this is a good one. This is a story and a plot that's really intriguing, pulls you in, keeps you interested the whole time. I liked the way that they structured it. It's very there's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and you can very obviously tell which one is which. Act 1 is all about the background of how he goes on this journey, becomes Batman, sees the corruption of Gotham, and gets trained by Ra's al Ghul. Act 2 is all about him coming back to Gotham and actually becoming Batman, learning picking up doing weapons and gadgets and gizmos from Lucius Fox, learning how to make a costume, a suit, and things like that. And then Act 3 is the actual conflict where they're poisoning the water system and getting ready for the big hallucination fear gas thing that they do at the end, which is really it all connects really well, which is why even though there's very distinct acts, I was still really enjoying myself. It didn't feel choppy at all. I felt like it was connected and really well told.
Yeah, I felt pretty similarly. I didn't have almost any complaints with the whole storyline. The one thing that I will say is that as you follow Christian Bale's Batman, the character of Bruce Wayne makes some pretty big jumps. And sometimes I felt like the writing was just yeah, Alfred should probably be okay with the fact that Bruce Wayne is Batman. You know,
Right, yeah.
He shouldn't try to convince him that maybe he shouldn't be insane or anything. And when Alfred finds Bruce, he's just hey, what's up, dude? But I feel like he should have been Bruce, it's been 7 years. You know, we declared you dead.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, I feel like he should have been a little bit more. I felt like the writing of the story. I feel like the story was coherent. But I felt like it was still a little unrealistic, which I guess
it's a superhero.
We're gonna
movie,
have to forgive it for that.
I was gonna say I mean yes, they took a lot of liberties with that, but it's a superhero movie.
Yeah,
so
which is
I'm not
true.
gonna dock it for that.
I gave it a 4.5. I gave it a really good. I gave it really high on the story.
Yeah,
I just felt like there were some pretty big jumps.
and that's fair. I can see that. I did give it a 5 out of 5. I had no issues at all with the storytelling, with the plot line. This is one that really pulls me in, and I've always really liked this movie for that reason. So 5 out of 5 for me on the plot and storyline.
Why? For protection! I don't need protection. Protection for them.
The acting and the characters in this movie I thought were also fantastic. I don't think out of any of the mains, I don't think that I had a gripe with any of them.
No, not at all.
I mean, every now and again you'll get a side character that looked lost, but it happens. You know, you can't get. I think that the greatest characters. I really liked Ra's al Ghul. I liked Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, and I liked his character.
Yeah.
I liked how he had a reason for doing what he was doing. He wanted to destroy Gotham, but it wasn't just because he was evil. He wanted to destroy Gotham because he felt like he was God and they were Sodom and Gomorrah. He wanted to destroy Gotham because he felt like it was righteous justice. And Batman was it's better to save than to destroy. And so it was just really cool,
Yeah.
Dynamic.
Yeah, that was a really cool conflict of interest, because the thing is you could tell that Ra's al Ghul still liked Bruce and he wanted him to be on his side, but he wasn't going to let that stop him from destroying Gotham. And the same thing with Bruce. I think Bruce still really admired him in a lot of ways. He wasn't going to let him just destroy his hometown. So that was a really cool dynamic. I also agree. I meant that note. Liam Neeson was really good in that role. I also, and I think this guy kind of gets underplayed a lot, but I think his name is Cillian Murphy or whatever his name is. He plays the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
He is really good. He does a really good job. He is creepy in a lot of ways, even when he's not wearing his little mask and his little fear thing. The way he talks, he's just
The Batman.
things like that. He's very creepy, and he's very he looks the part. He stands out to me a lot of ways. I wish they gave him more to do, because he's kind of a minor character because he's a pawn. Essentially, he's not the main villain. But I really do like him a lot, and I think he gets kind of underplayed a lot. But as far as Christian Bale's Batman, he's good. I really do like Christian Bale. I'm not crazy about his Batman voice, but he doesn't do a huge one in this one. I don't think this one he's pretty chill with it. So.
For the most part. There was one scene where he calls Alfred and he keeps doing the voice, and I was
well,
okay.
Why?
So I thought that was interesting. But I really like those two actors. I think that they're both really good in every role that they go into. I mean, Christian Bale is an absolute madman.
Yeah.
And he should probably be in an insane asylum, but if he's not going to be in an insane asylum, he should 100% be on the screen, because he does a good job in every role he plays.
Yeah.
And so again, Rachel Dodds was probably the only character that was pretty forgettable for me. And she did a good job with what she was given. She just seemed a little bland to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gets worse as the trilogy goes on.
Yeah, I would agree. So Katie Holmes, she plays Rachel Dawes in this one. She gets replaced in the next one, but she's good. She's probably the weakest link. I would definitely say that. A lot of people actually really don't like her, and I don't understand that necessarily.
Yeah, no, I don't think I didn't dislike her.
No, she just isn't really anything special. But everybody else made up, like, you get kind of this mediocre actress and surrounded by a huge, really great cast, and I have no qualms with the acting in this movie at all. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on acting.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I also wanted to give a shout out to our man Alfred.
Michael Caine.
Sir Michael Caine. Sir Michael Caine did an excellent job. With especially when he was given Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. Yeah. I mean, a loaded cast. Excellent job.
Yeah, agreed.
Jessica, where are you?
Eye on the ball.
Why is no one answering the phone?
It's Wayne Enterprises, Mr. Earl. I'm sure they'll call back.
Bruce, you're supposed to be dead.
Sorry to disappoint.
Moving on to the action, and this is unfortunately where this movie loses me. It is really, really choppy. They every time a punch is even thrown, the camera shifts like 5 times. And it's so annoying, and it takes you out of the moment that I just there were some cool ideas they had going on. Like, there's a warehouse scene where Batman's taking out a bunch of goons, and he's doing it like they know they can't even see him coming because he's in the shadows and he's doing his little Batman stuff, and that's cool. But I couldn't do it. There were just too many cuts between every fight scene. It was hard to see what was going on. It was hard to tell what was happening. I just really did not enjoy the action in this film.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to talk about during cinematics, so I'm going to kind of gloss over that for now. I also didn't love the action in this movie. I thought that there were some pretty cool scenes that were mostly the sparring between Batman and Ra's al Ghul. I liked a lot of the things that Batman did, like the armored tank car scene was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Just any time that things were happening, it felt good. It felt real. But like Eric said, and like I will continue to talk about in cinematics, they did take me out of the movie with a lot of their camera cuts. I mean, I gave the action a 3. I thought it was above average, but just not by a lot.
I gave it a 2. It really did not work for me with the quick cuts, and that was mostly where the camera. Ben's going to talk more about this in cinematics, but that was mostly where the camera was cutting, is during the action sequences. Mm-hmm. So I blame the action sequences for the fact they were even doing that. So it took a pretty big hit for me. The action is cool. They got some cool ideas. The car chase was fun. The train fight with Ra's al Ghul and Batman was cool to watch. But man, there's so many cuts. It ruined it for me. So 2 out of 5 for me. So not fantastic. It's really the weakest link of this movie to me is the action sequences, but it is what it is, I guess.
Where are you?
Here.
I'm going to have to disagree with Eric a little bit on the action being the weakest link. I think the cinematics were the weakest link of this movie, and I think it's for the same reason. We just chose to deduct points at different parts. I want to talk about that warehouse scene a little bit. That's a really cool scene, and I understand why they had lots of cuts during that scene, because it's supposed to be confusing. You're supposed to feel like one of the people who are moving the product, and you're being attacked. You can't see it. You don't know where it is. It felt cool. That was a great thing that they did there. But then they were like, why don't we do that for every other time that Batman's on screen? And I did not like that one bit. Both Christian Bale and Liam Neeson are great actors that could very easily do their own stunts. And they don't need, and they were doing their stunts. That's the thing, is that they were doing it, but it looks fake because they had to cut it so many times. It didn't look good. It didn't feel right. And cinematically, that took a massive hit. Mm-hmm. It took a massive hit from that. Other than that, the cinematics weren't terrible. The lighting felt good. Like, for the most part, I liked their Gotham, although I liked Tim Burton's Gotham probably better.
Tim Burton's Gotham was better.
I liked the bat suit a lot. Mm-hmm. And I do like the Batmobile here, although it doesn't feel as fantastic.
I'm not crazy about the Batmobile. It looks more like a tank.
Which is like
car.
Fair to an extent.
I mean,
it's got to tank some bullets, you know.
I mean, that's fair.
But I agree. It's not as sleek looking.
No.
But I mean, think about how weird Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever's car would have looked in this situation.
I mean, that's fair.
You know, it needed
That's
to fit
fair.
the tone.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's another thing I want to say about the cinematics. The mood of this movie was immediately different than anything we'd ever seen.
Yeah, very different.
You could immediately feel, okay, this movie's taking itself seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Every superhero movie up to this point has had a level of kind of corniness to it, just because that's what they were doing back in the day. Still do it a little bit today, but Batman Begins and Christopher Nolan was definitely going for more realistic feel, and it felt realistic, and that was cool. I definitely enjoyed that as well. I actually, as far as cinematics are concerned, like nothing stands out to me as like majorly good. And like I said, I'm not crazy about the Batmobile. I'm not crazy about Gotham. There was a scene in particular where I remember Rachel in the beginning of the movie is having this argument with Bruce about how Gotham is still a piece of crap, essentially. And for a minute, they're driving on some nice paved roads. She takes one turn, and it looks like she just goes underground, and then all of a sudden it just gets really, like, messy. And to me, I'm like, so you take one turn, and then all of a sudden you're there? Like, you know, is it all underground that's the bad stuff? So that I wasn't crazy about. I do like the theme music a lot, though. The score of this movie is very good.
Yeah.
So everything said together, I give it a 3 out of 5. It's good to me. The cinematics are good, but they're just not great, and they don't stand out a lot to me.
Yeah, I give it a 2.5. We basically gave it the same score, except this is the part where I decided to take off the jump cuts.
Yeah.
It was just, it took me out of the movie. There's no way that, like, I can't watch a movie, see that many cuts, and feel like I'm there. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of what ruined it for me. So, I mean, again, it wasn't terrible, but it just could have been better.
If you finally learn to do what is necessary, I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
Lastly, we just want to talk about the entertainment, and this is a very, very entertaining movie to watch. This is one that like I can rewatch many times, and I don't typically like to rewatch movies close together, but this is one that I can do that for, just because it is so like interesting the way the story is told, the way the acting is portrayed. Just it's the characters are all fun to watch and interesting to see. I'm very entertained from start to finish with this movie. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I've got no beefs with the entertainment level of this movie.
I gave it a 4 out of 5. There was some scenes near the middle where I was a little bit out of it. And then again, it comes down to the cinematics, basically. When I was watching the fight scenes, I couldn't be entertained by those fight scenes every time. Mm-hmm. It's just too choppy. And here's the thing, is that's not anybody's fault. I mean, it's the editor's fault, I guess.
Yeah. They did that on purpose, though, because like you said, they're trying to make Batman feel
in the beginning, that was fine.
Yeah.
But when you're having an open fight scene between Ra's al Ghul and Batman, all of the cards are already on the table. Batman doesn't need to seem hard to find or to be confused about, because he knows who he is. They know each other intimately.
Yeah.
Like it was completely unnecessary, and so it took me out of the movie. It lost a lot of points. So for entertainment, I gave it a 4. It's still an entertaining movie. I'm definitely going to watch it again in my lifetime. But I can't give it any higher than that.
That's fair. That's fair. So when all my scores were added together, I gave it a 4.0 out of 5. I would have given it a 5 out of 5 if the action had been a lot cleaner and the cinematics had just been a little bit more interesting, I guess. But like everything else, like it was a great movie, a fantastic movie. Definitely recommend watching this one, especially if you're a Batman fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I gave it a 3.7. It could have been higher had the cinematics been better. Had the cinematics really the only thing that dragged this down. Mm-hmm. And I mean the action as well. If those two things had just like merged together to be more enjoyable to watch, then this would have been a much higher score for me. I mean, I love Christopher Nolan's movies. I'm super excited for The Dark Knight. But this, I mean, it just had some flaws.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think when we average these things together, we get a 3.85. So towards the top of our list.
Definitely. Yeah, this is a really good movie. So thank you guys so much for watching our take on Batman Begins. Tune in next time. We'll be doing 2005's Fantastic Four, which I've never seen, but
I've seen twice.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later.
Bye.